Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Out Live. As you can see, we have a special guest with us. This is Sarah Allred down below. I'll give an intro in a minute, but I am Susan Leonardson. Andrea Peer is with us. And we have an awesome episode, whatever we call this thing, happening today.
Turning a corner, bringing in some new.
But real quick, let us know that you guys are here. We're excited that Sarah is here. Just a little bit about Sarah, and then I'm going to turn it over to her to kind of introduce what we're talking about today. But Sarah is disrupting marketing. Yes. The world is marketing to women using masculine strategies, and this does not work. So she has her brand. It's called Victorious Marketing, and it addresses the 72% to 80% we've been saying of buyers, which are women. And she's helping businesses to connect with women in a real and authentic way. And we kind of teased it a little bit of, at least I did on my profile, where we've got the hero's journey. And then Sarah's going to be here to talk to us about why that may not always be working for you in specific situations. So, Sarah, why don't you give us a intro of what you do, a little bit deeper of what you do and how you're doing it.
Oh my word. I'm super happy to be here, mainly because I'm huge fans of you, Susan, and you, Andrea. So the fact I get to hang out with these people is awesome. And then the fact that I get to help maybe open your audience's minds to some adjustments that they could make to better lock in really the most powerful consumer on earth, which is women. And I really want to start right from the very beginning at saying that when we are talking about the word female and gender, this is not a discussion about religion. This is not a discussion about politics. We are here talking about marketing. And I think that's really, really important to establish from the very beginning, is that we are talking about marketing today. So as long as we are cool with diving into that, what we're going to be discussing today was really my love story with the hero's journey. I mean, I attended all the things the funnel hacking lives and the story brand things and all this kind of stuff. And it actually made my marketing make sense. It became this really evolutionary thing for me that I was oh, I don't just have to say buy my stuff all the time and be a spammy person out there. This is such a cooler way to help bring people into my world that might be a fit that I can serve, right? And so it turned into this love affair with the hero's journey, and seeing it in Frodo and seeing it in Harry Potter and seeing it in Lord of the Rings, like all of this kind of stuff. And the challenge came from me being so in love with it that I was such a good student that I would do the hero part, and then I would establish the problem part, and then I would establish myself as the guide part. And I was such a good student. And honestly, while my business did okay, it was mediocre. Mm-hmm. And so I started to kind of feel stupid. I was I must be missing the mark on what's being taught with the hero's journey. And I mean, you guys, opening it up to you a little bit, if you ever felt I am following the dang framework, I am following the framework. I'm such a good student. I'm doing all the things, and crickets, or nobody's listening, or the customers are the wrong fit. Ever been there, you guys?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay. So as long as we're all in agreement that we've all been good students of some kind of framework at some point, I just started, I was well, I just got to get my reps in, right? I've just got to continually get better at telling the story. And I was publishing every day and doing all this kind of stuff. And it really came from sort of an accident when I started studying more deeply the hero's journey, and I glanced upon this really not so greatly written book on Amazon about the female version of the hero's journey. And I thought, oh, that's weird. And it has really poor reviews, and I'm not going to buy it. That was my initial introduction to it. But it did put me down a train of thought where I thought, yeah, Frodo, and yeah, Harry Potter, and yeah, Luke Skywalker. And then I would turn and watch with my little girls. I'd be but what about Moana? Is her story different? What about Mulan? What about Elsa? Like I started to see patterns where the female version of these even Disney stories were significantly different than the ones I was watching with their male counterparts, right? Over at Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. And so that's really where the journey began, was an understanding that, oh my gosh, there's a difference. And what if we were to leverage that difference? Would it produce something? And that is my mission. That is my mission, is to help those businesses look at their already established marketing plan and say, okay, let's plug in the significant differences that happen with women when it comes to being loyal to a brand, buying a product, staying with a brand, talking about a brand. Let's make those adjustments and let's see if we can increase sales with women. And that became the mission of Victor's Global. And it's been a blast.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is amazing. I was just going to say, I didn't even think about like all of the examples that we hear when Hero's Journey is being taught to us are all male characters. I didn't even think about that till you just said it. It's crazy.
It's fascinating because it instinctively, like Disney has instinctively done it, and literature has instinctively embraced the male version and the female version when it comes to helping you be loyal to a character. They instinctively have done it. Novels have done it. Movies have done it. Art has done it. And marketing has not yet turned that corner. Right. And so that's what I'm trying to be the pusher of, and the like shine the light on, is how can we also turn that corner to better include the one who is actually putting in the credit card for like 70 to 80% of purchases online? Like, how can we make that adjustment?
And Sarah, I'm curious if you were to go in just a little bit deeper because I think we all, and maybe it's just, I mean, we're three females, right? And it's like so clear as you're talking of like, yes, there's a huge difference. But just to even paint the picture deeper, I'm curious if we could go into like, what are some of those biggest differences that you see, and some of the conversations that you have, and you work with some pretty big names in terms of like, what are those biggest differences that you see for people in our audience and who are trying to learn this marketing game in a more than a one-dimensional manner?
Oh, I love this. I love this. And I really want to pay tribute to those who have taught me the foundations of marketing, because they got me here. Right.
Yeah.
They got me here. And what I learned from what I very affectionately call bro marketing, I affectionately call it that, because it got me here and it gave me the foundation to understand the differences. So this is not like a man hater session, right? We could have any dudes in the room, and I would praise your name for everything that you guys have done to help bring business and marketing forward. And I love your question, Andrea, of what is a significant difference, right? And there are multiple significant differences when you compare the hero's journey to what we call the victor's journey, which is what our marketing firm is based on. But let's start with one of the funniest ones, I think, to me, and how I was actually able to help repair a really big, $25 million a year business in this realm. So the ways that the hero's journey and the victor's journey are the same is that there is always a hero and there is always a victress, right? There's always a main character, and that's the customer. That doesn't change, right? But one of the things that is so interesting is both of those characters feel called to solve a problem. Right. Yeah. Frodo is in the little fellowship ring thing, and he is told that the earth, the good earth, what's it called? Something earth? Middle earth. Middle earth. I'm I need a prompt machine here. The Middle Earth is going to be destroyed if they don't take the ring to Mordor and throw it in Mount Doom. Right. He knows that. And I want you to just parallel this, because Frodo, he feels called to do something. He's a little teeny, hairy foot hobbit. And his response is, I will take the ring to Mordor, but I do not know the way. Yeah. He immediately commits to the cause. He's I will go. I know I'm short. I don't know how to use a sword. I have hairy feet. I know I need help. Gandalf's here. Luckily, there's a guide here. I will go, but I don't know the way. I need help along the way, right? Yeah. Let's compare that with Moana, right? If you've never seen Moana, your homework today is go watch Moana through the eyes of a marketer, okay? Because Moana also feels called to save her land, to save her island. It's starting to disintegrate, right? Yeah. And the solution to that, it's not a ring, but it's the heart of Tafiti, right? It is the heart of Tafiti that needs to be returned to her in order for her world to be saved, okay? But I want you to notice there's an entire song inside Moana that is centered around the significant difference between the hero's journey and the victor's journey. And what we call it at Victor's Global is the identity crisis. right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a song about it. And you guys know this. You're like women who have watched this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And you watch Moana and she consistently boomerangs back and forth in between. I feel called to the water, like the water, it calls me. Like she literally says that it calls me. I feel called to this. And then all of a sudden she puts on her little chief's daughter's hat. She starts walking down the road and she's like, no, I'm going to be a leader on my island. This is where I'm supposed to be. And then she goes to the side and she goes, no, wait, but the ocean is calling me and I should do that. My grandma says I should do it. And but grandma's kind of crazy and everybody thinks she's crazy. I can't do this. I don't want to be the crazy lady on the island. And it turns into this huge tug of war in between. Is it okay for me to actually want to go to the water? Yes. Right? Is it okay? Yes. And so those of you who are doing B2B businesses, right? You're trying to be a funnel builder for someone, or you're trying to help someone increase Facebook revenue, or you're trying to whatever you're trying to do. Have you ever considered the fact that some of the women you may be working with may actually feel like I should be able to hack this on my own? Like it's actually not okay for me to hire this out, or like I value scrappiness, right? Or that it's actually not okay for me to make substantial money because that's like a male role, not a female role. Like I'm just giving you a couple of examples here along the way of real identity crises that are going on with women that are unacknowledged in bro marketing.
Yes.
Okay. We help them acknowledge their fears about why they won't accomplish it. Oh, here's how I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you support and I'm going to give you one-on-one calls and I'm going to give you whatever you need, all these bonuses or whatever. It has to start earlier, right? With actually saying, hey, it's okay for you to not know how to run a Facebook ad. It's okay. And it's okay for you to be a woman and have a couple of kids and to make bank in your business. Like it's okay. And starting in that kind of an identity crisis. And let me give you the example and I feel like I'm just over talking both of you.
You're good. You're good.
But can we connect the dots here on what this looked like for an incredibly male-led, three of my dearest friends in the ClickFunnels world run a 25 multi-million-dollar business, right? And they came to me and they said, Kate, we got women coming into our webinars and like 2 to 3% of buyers, not attendees, buyers are women. And they're like, and you're saying that women are buying everything. I'm not sure that's true. And I'm like, okay, let's get our hands dirty. Let's look at this, right? Let's look at this. So I looked at their webinar and here's where the problem started to happen and the adjustment that we made. So we looked at this webinar and they sell, I'm just going to be real vague. Okay. They sell services to help entrepreneurs know how to manage your money. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Yeah. And they're talking about their strategy and they're saying, okay, well, look at these amazing people who have used this strategy. So this is what we would call like the testimonial part, right? Yeah. Okay. And so the testimonials that they're using are Oprah Winfrey, who's a woman. Okay. Well, that should work for women, right? Okay. And then they're using Warren Buffett. And then they're using Jeff Bezos, right? Is it Bezos or Bezos? I should know.
Yeah, Bezos. Yeah.
Bezos? Like,
whichever.
They call him the bees guy. So I'm like, I don't even know how to say it. So those are the examples that they are using. And as women in the room, I bet you guys instinctively can tell me why that could potentially be a problem with female buyers. Do you have any idea? I'm just going to put you on the spot.
Sure. I mean, to me, Warren Buffett is inaccessible because of just the way that he has gone about acquiring his wealth is not a way that I'm like, I don't have that skill set, or that's not the way I would approach things or think about things. And he has such clarity about the way that he invests is very like hardcore, practical, logical, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, it's just, for me, it's not approachable.
Inaccessible, unapproachable.
Yeah, not relatable at all. Like the way that they acquired their money and also their goals in life, not relatable.
Yeah.
Oh my word. This is so brilliant. Okay. And this is part of what my challenge to your listeners is to take the foundation of marketing you've been taught and give yourself permission to question certain parts of it. Okay. Okay. Allow yourself to be smart and to look at something and say, is this the best testimonial? What could be the problem with this kind of testimonial? And I see it over and over and over again where testimonials are used that are big and massive and all this kind of stuff. And all that the woman can sit there and think is like, they have things I don't have access to.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and also risk. Like, okay, well, if Oprah Winfrey messes up how she manages her money, is she going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll call her friend J.K. Rowling and they'll be fine. Right. Like, I mean, there's so many things where it feels so incredibly unrelatable. And so when you use those testimonials, you actually want to build testimonials that start with a similar character who had the same identity issue. Okay. So if I'm using a testimonial, instead of using Oprah, I'm using Cindy that I worked with 6 months ago, who was the one who felt like making a lot of money meant she'd have to double her work hours and she was unwilling to do it. Does that make sense? So that's someone who has an identity crisis saying, is it okay for me to make a lot of money? Well, it is, as long as I don't have to work more. Okay. And if your customer can see herself through Cindy's story, who's approachable, and did Cindy make $10 billion by using my marketing system? No, but guess what? She did double her revenue without working any more hours per week. Okay. Yeah. I know it's not a sexy number. No, she didn't make 10 billion, but she did double it. Does that mean something to you? Because that kind of approachable result and approachable identity, that will get Moana in the boat.
Yes.
Right. And that's what you need. Because once she's in the boat, you're gold, as long as you know how to fulfill, which is what you guys are masters at, by the way. So,
well, I have this client that says I got to double click on that. So, and it's like in my head now, it's like, I got to double click on that, Sarah. So but okay. So on that note, it was interesting. I was having a meeting yesterday, with some geeks, and, I won't share names or anything, but somebody in the group was basically saying like, oh, I only have this much results. Right. And I, so like, let me take out that section altogether. And I'm like, no, don't do it. You know what I mean? It's like, no, like be
your greatest opportunity
about the success that you have achieved, because you are, 5 steps ahead of the people you serve. And I think though that what happens, Sarah, and my guess is that because we're in this marketing world and we are surrounded by these like, I made $10 million in 55 seconds. You know what I mean? And it's
people do it.
Yeah. All of a sudden though, like our small wins that are when we're first beginning are big wins. We don't credit those, and I do think it does. I think it's a great point of just be real, be humble, like share the wins. And it's more relatable to the people that you're serving potentially.
And really, Andrea, I'm so glad you double clicked on that. I love that.
I know, right? Isn't it great?
Right? That's such an important concept, because as you go later in the victor's journey, can we just expose the other significant difference?
Yes,
like one of the other ones, because you actually just nailed it. Okay. Awesome. When you talked about this geek, and I hope you're watching, whatever geek you are, okay, tag them privately in the DM. You are actually at the greatest opportunity in your business, because I want you to perceive Frodo and Moana for a minute. Frodo, from the very beginning, knew that his journey was Mount Doom. And he said yes to it, right? And he's like, as long as I have help, I'll go. Okay. So looking ahead to a $10 million business, or looking ahead to your first 6 figures, or looking ahead to your, first million, whatever it is you're aiming for revenue wise, or wherever your goals are, like Frodo knew it from the beginning. Okay. And committed to it and went. What did Moana think her journey was going to be when she got in the boat? She got in the boat do you guys know why?
It was just following her intuition, right? It was like that calling. Like she didn't really have a goal at all, other than just.
You're so close. She had a very seemingly achievable goal that still stretched her, and it was to go find Maui, because Maui was the one that was going to have the hook and find the heart of Te-Fiti, and he was going to go accomplish it all. Isn't that fascinating that she was going to pass it off to a man? Right? Fascinating. Right? But she never would have gotten in the boat if the call was go sail, go defeat Te-Ka the demon, and she never would have gotten the boat.
Oh
right?
My gosh.
She wasn't that person yet.
Yeah.
She wasn't that person yet. So when your B2Bs or whatever these geeks are building in your incredible community, if you are spouting with your testimonials, the end take ha, defeat the demon, the $10 million business or the 10x revenue even, you will lose women. You will lose women because they are not there yet. And I'm not slamming women. I am one, and I was raised by a powerful one. Like I am not. I mean, what I'm saying is the reality is your best way forward is to first establish with them what is the initial goal. Like, and we call it in Victor's Global, the core result. So our core result that we guarantee is that we will help you 2x your revenue with women. Have I ever 10x revenue for certain businesses? Yes. The highest I've gotten, 14x. Okay. That's the highest I've ever gotten. We rarely share that. Most of our testimonials is I 2x'd in 6 months. I 2x'd in 2 weeks. I 2x'd in 18 days. I 2x. Like, what is that common core result, as unsexy as it sounds, that you can consistently offer your people over and over and over? Because here's what happens, Andrea. Here's what happens is that woman hires you and she says, Andrea's going to make me a millionaire. Look, that dude did it, and he did it in 3 weeks. They're going to hire you. And guess what? You can't deliver that.
Yeah.
I guess if you can, tell me, because I'll buy your stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But she's going to be disappointed in you as a fulfillment person. And she's not only never going to buy from you again, she's also going to tell her friends not to buy from you.
Yes. Yeah.
If you sell a core result and you deliver on it, she's with you for life. And then she tells her friends, and so are they.
Yeah.
Is this making sense?
It does.
Don't teach someone the 10x yet. Get the women to the 2x who then tell their friends. That is a significant difference in bro marketing and Victor's marketing.
Yes. Awesome. Okay.
And
I
then,
have to, oh, go ahead, Susan. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to like tie that back to the Moana example of like, okay, you get her to the 2x, and now all of a sudden it's like, now she knows what's possible. Like she knows it's possible. She knows that she can do it. And now it's like, okay, well, what's my next thing? Like, what's my next goal to get to? And then getting to that 1 million, right, can happen the little piece at a time, just like Moana saving her island one little step at a time. I love that so much.
I do too.
And if you look even within the ClickFunnels community and the geeks that you're looking here, those who have consistently delivered achievable results are there for the long term, right? You may have those people that spike and can get one person to $1 million in 6 weeks, and it doesn't last. And it's because of that chatter ability, good or bad, that women have to grow your business. So why not leverage it? Yeah. Why not leverage it and be so good at delivering what you say you can deliver?
Well, and I think on that note too, I'm curious, Sarah, your thoughts here. And that is, actually, first, before I go there, because I have another thought before we go there. So first, for all the people listening, I think one thing that's so cool about having you on, Sarah, is that I think it stretches what we normally talk about on GeekOut, right? So normally we talk about on GeekOut is like, we're following ClickFunnels and what's the strategy and how do you use the tech and like, a lot of that. I think one thing that I'm excited about you being here today, and just to make the bridge to our listeners and the people who are tuning in, is, to me, I saw two major bridges. First is that I think that the game that we're playing in terms of marketing, we are in a world where we have a lot of these big examples of more masculine-based marketing techniques, right? And I think that what you give is you give this balanced perspective of marketing techniques that are so needed, especially if you're serving a predominantly female audience, and that if we're truly going to play the game of marketing, we need to understand both of these approaches and take the ones that work best for our business. So that's the first just bridge for people who are listening, and why I think Susan and I got so excited with Sarah coming on. The second one is that I think that a lot of the stuff that you talk about, Sarah, is I know that I do not want to make any kind of political statement around gender or anything like that, right? But it is kind of this more masculine and feminine. And I think that what we see with a lot of our geeks is this. I loved your example of Milan and not trusting her own intuition of what is needed, you know what I mean? And trying to be more like that achievement oriented, be the king, instead of trusting the intuition that was coming. And I think as we play this marketing game, a lot of times we do lose sight of that in the lieu of like the achievement orientation. And I don't know that that's just a male female thing. I see it a lot of our like male geeks. And so I'm curious just your thoughts on that, and just what you see in terms of like how to lean into that, or how to embrace not just like marketing to females, but the approach itself, as a marketer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love this question so much. And I actually think it brings up a rather divisive part of my business. Yeah. And that is, and I mean that in a really positive way. Divisive, disruptive, maybe, because there's a temptation to say that like only women are risk assessors. Like only women are like, okay, well, like, I'm just not sure. And they battle, which actually isn't true, right? It actually isn't true. There are many men out there who take very seriously the risks that their role as an entrepreneur place on a family or on the world and on their impact. And I think what is so fascinating is with the evolution of women in film and in novels being like the lead character, like Hunger Games and those kinds of things, is it's brought in a focus on, can we get back to actual integrity in marketing? Mm-hmm. Because it turned in, and I think you guys are nodding because I love ClickFunnels and I love Russell because I believe he's a person and a leader of integrity. And Absolutely. That doesn't mean that people in the ClickFunnels world are that same way.
Yeah.
And I'm just exposing that, right? Yeah. And so my hope is that as we introduce some of these more feminine traits, right, of like cost and family and, all these kinds of things that are typically more feminine characteristics, the goal is how can men be more that way? And how can women step up and actually lead a little bit more? Like, how can we become, a little bit more of a hybrid of some of our best qualities back and forth when it talks about men and women. And so I guess my hope in what I'm saying here is I hope it makes you a better business person, that you can honestly say you can deliver, right? That you can fulfill, right? You can actually fulfill on the things that you're saying, and your testimonials are real, and they're real people, and they're real businesses that I could call for a reference, right? Like, I hope it's a check-in there first and foremost. And second, in the world of integrity, and I like want to say this so incredibly cautiously, and I'm like, you're gonna have to edit this, and then we're live, and then I'm like, and then I do all the things.
Save space.
I also hope it makes you a better consumer.
Yeah.
I hope it opens your eyes, and I'm just gonna say it. Edit it. We're live. We can't.
Do it.
I hope it will edit your eyes to the how to lose 118 pounds in 8 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope you will say, wow, that is bro marketing gone wrong. Mm-hmm. That is not what I've been taught. That is not what I settled into. That the Photoshopness, the fakeness, the let me screenshot my Stripe account and put fake numbers in there. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to get fired, you guys, like right here on the spot. But I guess my hope there is as we bring in a new conversation centered around integrity, and it tends to be a more feminine quality because women feel like they pass on their integrity to those they love, that they have children watching and a village watching and a neighborhood watching. Doesn't mean men aren't full of integrity. Okay. Like, it's not what I'm saying. I hope you can hear that in my voice, but I hope it makes you a better business person that you can deliver. And it also makes you a smarter consumer so you don't get trapped.
Yeah.
Because it's out there.
Yeah.
Don't fire me.
So no, I love it.
Oh, no, that was so good.
Yeah, it is. Because I think, so all three of us have participated in Catherine Jones' Sunroom, right? And all three of us have had the sat down in that conversation where she's like, what is your tangible result? And Sarah, I wasn't at your table at that day, but I know Susan and I were like, that was the hardest part of the whole experience, right? Because it's like, and I think it's exactly what you're touching on. It is this integrity piece of and even Susan and I, as we were building GeekOut, it's like, here's what I can say with full transparency and integrity. I know I can sit and hold space for someone. I know I can teach them how to build a funnel. I know I can teach them how to build a customer journey. Can I say that I can give you $10,000 in 3 hours? I was like, I can't with any integrity say that, even if I've done it. And so I love just what you're leaning into, and curious, as I know that your main goal is to advise companies on how to have that conversation. And you talked a little bit about only talking about the next best goal, but I'm curious about the tangibleness of that goal and what it needs to be when they're trying to appeal to a female audience.
This is so good. This is so good. And because I don't have my note in front of me, I hope I can remember this. So there are 7 core desires of women, right? And if I miss one, I will text it to you and put it on the thread. Okay?
Amazing.
Okay? Either time-centered, money-centered, acknowledgement-centered, skill-centered, status-centered, and I'm missing 2. And I'm not going to think of them in the moment. Okay. But there are 7 things, and your core results should center around freeing them in one of those areas. Ooh, right? I'm getting better at a skill. Okay. You are giving me more time with my family. You are helping me make more money. You're making me spend less money at the grocery store. You're helping me. So you're either more or lessing those things, right?
Can I just say for a second, just you saying that, there is such freedom and relief in me when you say that. I'm like, Susan, let's go make our tangible results. I'm ready.
Really? Oh, I'm so glad.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And for anybody in the room who is like, well, lucky for you, Andrea, I still don't know mine. Okay. Here's how you do it. Okay. Here's how you do it. When you sit with a woman, we call her your victress. Yeah. Sit with someone you would so love to serve. If you feel like you could help me blow up my business more than it is, call me and I will sit with you. Susan will sit with you. Well, I'm like volunteering your time now. Sorry. Whoa, stop. Okay. But I will sit with you. And if you feel like I'm your ideal client, let's sit together. And these are the questions you ask. If you don't know your tangible result, like a lot of coaches, I work with a lot of life coaches, right? Parenting coaches, marriage coaches that are like, what the heck is my tangible result? Like, kiss 5 days in a row. Like, what does that even mean? Right? That doesn't feel like a really great tangible result. So instead we sit together with their ideal clients and we ask questions like, if marriage coaching worked for you, what would your finances look like? What would your time look like? How would your faith change? How would your confidence change? How would whatever? And allow your victress to actually tell you what the tangible result is. Right. And so all of a sudden you have testimonials that talk about, after working with Shannon, right? My husband and I slept in the same room for the first time in 3 years. That was one of them. That is a tangible result. Okay. Is it the one you're promising to everyone? No. But if she's standing next to Mandy and Mandy says, after working with Shannon, right, we were able to, we haven't missed a date night in 7 weeks. Okay. You're underlying those tangible results that are actually quite different when they're relationship based for people, right? But you're still highlighting, wow, what would it be like if I was in a traumatizing marriage? I am not. Okay. But if I was sleeping in the same room, wow, I want to go out there and get that. Okay. Yeah. That's not like you're never going to get divorced or we're never going to like whatever, but it's like, you're not talking about the Mount Doom. You're talking about the Maui. You're talking about that initial thing that, man, if we could just get there, I'd stay with you. Right.
And the way you're doing it is through story and testimonial and relational conversation based, sharing of those results, and not like headline, result.
1,000%. So hopefully that helps bring home how we deal with core results in industries where it feels more vague. That's how we're able to produce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Okay. I'm like, that's all I'm saying, like, for the last 10 minutes. Oh, that's so good. It is though. Okay. So we are out of time. We have loved having Sarah here with us. For those of you watching, if you want to dive in and learn more about Sarah and what she does. She actually has a quiz. You could go and take this quiz. It's victoriousglobal.com. And we'll put the link in the comments. I have to actually get to our live stream to do that, but it's Victress, VICTRESS, global.com. We'll drop the links in all the places. So
can we just funnel hack this one for a second too? So as soon as you showed it, like the very first thing that I saw was that it was curiosity based with a quiz and a survey at the top, right? Which again, I think is such an amazing way of, it's inviting of a conversation. And then I think, Sarah, I'm sure it's okay if I share, but as soon as you said, you know, like, hey, I don't care, like my goal in them getting that quiz is actually not to just convert them into a buyer, but I genuinely want to help them improve their quiz. Again, I think that is just such a testament to like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to serve. And it's not first and foremost through this like transactional nature, and it's much more relational based, which is just fantastic.
I mean, like cat's out of the bag. There's actually nothing you can buy right now. My program is closed. There's nothing you can buy. So get in there and take the quiz and text it to me, and we'll talk via text. Like that's what it's going to end up being. So I hope that feels like that's a way that I can give and help you connect the dots for you specifically.
It's amazing. Yep. Absolutely amazing. Yes.
All right. Okay. I see a lot of comments in the chat. I don't see questions, but everyone's loved it. We will figure out a way to bring Sarah back and geek out with us some more. All right, everyone, give your love to Sarah in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. And I am so excited to dive in and learn more myself and see what we can do with our own geek out stuff with Victress Global. So, all right, I think that's it for us today, you guys. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next week. We have a workshop for Geek Out Academy right after this in about 20 minutes. So we'll see you guys there. And Sarah, we'll see you also soon.
It's been a joy. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be here.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.